Origin teams. So let's give a quick preview of Wednesday night. We did talk about
that up on the big screen.
We did talk about the snubs. So I think the interesting things team wise was Whiten to start in the centres.
Yep.
And Ben Hunt to start as hooker for Queensland. So do you want to run through your thoughts on New South Wales starting squad?
Pretty much as expected. I think we had Addo Carr in our team. Tupu obviously getting that spot on the wing. Katoni Staggs going to make his Origin debut. We've been big on Katoni Staggs. I've been big on Katoni Staggs in the last month in this lead up. Jack Whiten getting the starting centre role with Stephen Crichton as the 14, perhaps a little bit of a surprise.
Head scratcher, but I think, do you think it's maybe a bit more of cover for the debutant? So instead of having two starting debutants in your centres, you used to have one.
Yep.
And Jack, who has played Origin, of course, off the bench.
And been good.
Has played centre in the past, so he can probably fit in a role there. And then, you can bring Crichton in later in the game. So I'd expect maybe Jack to play 60 in this one. And, Crichton will maybe play 20, or they might find a role for Crichton somewhere else on the field.
I think Crichton has to be the true utility,
yes.
which is
weird.
Which is
odd for him for his...
Yeah, given that he's probably a true centre, and we've spoken at length about Whiten's ability to play every position that's not prop.
Yeah. I think it's more coverage for game one, and then game two, it'll probably be the other way around. I think it's like get him in there, get him used to it, get him settled in Sydney, and then that'll hopefully give the start to Crichton on in Perth when they go across there for game two.
I think the rest of the side, not too many head scratches there. Luai and Cleary, they were always going to get the half positions. I think Payne Haas and Junior Paulo makes sense as the props. Damien Cook, we spoke about Api Coruscant. Would he usurp him? No, I think Cook's last month has been good. Unreal. Does things that other hookers can't do. Cameron Murray was probably a lock for the 11, Isaiah Yeo probably a lock for the 13. Tarek Sims, there was maybe a little bit of chat about has his form for the Dragons been good enough, was very, very good in Origin last year, can be that tough enforcer type. Angus Crichton and Tyson Frizzell probably unlucky to miss out there.
And Jake Turbo was the other one. He played there last year. But
that's the thing about Turbo as well. He's not a true edge back rower, so you've got your three middles already in Haas, Paulo,
I guess Yo's kind of filling that role that you'd think Jake would probably do.
And Jake Turbo, I think if you look at the team's name for last year, he was listed as starting prop.
Yeah.
So the way that Isaiah Yo's been playing, second in the Dally M, he had to be picked as a lock. Yep. Some interesting kind of tactics with Stephen Crichton being named as 14. I think Liam Martin, we had him in our team, gets that edge back rower bench spot. Like to see Regan Campbell-Gillard getting an opportunity here with his Parramatta Eels teammate in Ryan Mattison. That rounds out the 17. Neko Hines, probably unlucky to be the 18.
Yeah, well, I was looking at that and it was just like, Crichton... They've picked him as the 14. You have to do the job there because Nico Hines, you'd think, would have more ability to cover more positions. But we've had that chat with, Jack could have filled that role as well.
Yep.
And then, you had Api Coruscant, the younger Safidi brother, I believe.
With Daniel being unavailable.
And Joseph is the other one.
And Joseph Suwali. Yeah, I think maybe... We've already spoken about Addo Carr and Turbo unlucky. I think Tyson Frizzell may be unlucky as well to bust into that New South Wales team. But essentially, outside of Addo Carr and Turbo, what we expected.
Yep. Do you reckon Frizzell gets a bit of that Addo Carr sort of treatment as well with the Knights?
At Newcastle.
Probably with the Knights, yeah.
But if you look at his numbers week in, week out, he is a workhorse. 100%. He's fit. He's hard. I suppose, maybe some people would have him over his ex-teammate in Tarek Sims.
I almost would, yeah.
Yeah, but it's tough. You look at any of these guys. There's an argument to be made either way.
Definitely.
I think Freddie is probably big on the hardness of Tarek Sims and what he gave in the 2021 Origin win for the Blues.
Yeah, and what was it? I think we didn't talk about Finucane missing out, but I think
Hasn't played enough.
yeah, concussions. I don't think he's kind of right. He's been excellent for Sharks when he's played, but he's been a bit of hit and miss for them. So yeah, I think a good squad. It's not much else. Of course, they've got the two big outs in Turbo and Latrell, but we'll have to see if Cantoni and Jack can do a job for him.
And Sean, you pretty much nailed this Queensland side. I think, what did you miss? You had Harry Grant starting over Ben Hunt.
Yeah, and
as the 9.
I wonder if that's a bit of a reward for Ben and what he's been doing, and the fact that Harry didn't play last week as well because of the injury to the. What do you have?
Adductor.
Abductor, or was it to the D, or is it ab or do?
Double D. Daisy Dukes. Adductor, the groin, the muscles that bring the legs together.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's a bit of cover. And this will be the question, how much game time Ben Hunt plays in this. Does he play the full 60 and it's 20, or is it more of a 30-minute thing and then they're putting Harry Grant on? Then maybe they shift Harry into the second row and Ben Hunt comes on for the last 10, 15.
Yep. Versatility, I think Ben Hunt, that's why he's named at 9, but if anything was to go down, he could play in the halves, he can give you something else. And
adds a kicking game as well, another kicking option from hooker.
Yeah,
so,
was very good last year in that game that he played.
So I think I then had probably Papali, Capewell and Kafusi as well. Cotter gets the lock, but it was good to see that the Carrigan and who was the other one they put on the bench. I don't think I had Lindsay Collins in my starting squad, so that's why I completely missed that he was 15. But yeah, Carrigan there on the bench was a good get, and then getting the other Cowboys second row there too was. I think that's a good solid team. I'd be interested to see some young forwards getting put into that squad. Let's see if they can do a job for us.
Fair few debutants there, isn't it? So Cobbo is a debutant. Cotter is.
Cotter's is. And then...
Nanai definitely is.
Carrigan.
Has Carrigan played for... So he's a debutant?
Yeah, so those 6 and 17 would be debutants, and then I think the rest of the debutants came from the bottom half. Because Flegler, Deedon and Murray all weren't in the squad last year, I don't think. Maybe Deedon was in the squad last year. No, I don't think so.
Anyways, State of Origin, Wednesday night. State against state, mate against mate. Can't wait.
I assume New South Wales, Queensland.
Yeah.
No Judas is here.
Massive game here in Sydney.
It's a big game considering Game 2's in Perth.
Yeah, exactly. If the Blues go out and win this one, you'd think the work will be ahead of the Maroons, given the neutral venue for Game 2 and then Game 3 being in Queensland.
And we confirmed that only played one game in Perth in Origin, and that was a game that they put 40 points on Queensland. So not a great track record off one game for Queensland.
No, indeed.
Just real quick back on Dale Finucane. He's got a knee injury. Won't be back for till around 16 anyway. So
there you go.
Banged up.
Unavailable.